Welcome, women of Genesis. I am your host, Eva Cheyenne, and today we're going to be talking about what to do in the meantime while you're waiting, while you're trying to get through this midlife crisis or this burnout phase or this ego death or this spiritual awakening. It could be a lot of different things, but I feel like they're all jumbled into one. This is more than an upload, this is a signal. This is a signal for women who are not afraid to go into the darkness to bring forth the light. This is a signal for women who are bringing in the new earth, bringing in an earth that is more founded on peace and equal prosperity and love and compassion for one another. This is a signal for women with ancient DNA. And as I cater to women, this is also for my healed and healing masculine men. Masculine men. You know what I'm talking about. um, this is going to be a building channel. We're going to grow from 1 minute to the next, from one instant to the next. Or at least that's my hope for it anyway. But if you are looking for an expert, then I am not your person because I am going through this with you. I am not a master as of yet. I'm a master in some things. Master in shadow work. A master in Reiki. And a few other things. I don't want to get into accolades. They somewhat bore me. But when it comes to the human experience, I don't believe myself to be a master. Now, the previous episodes were talking about the pain of going through the spiritual awakening, the ego death, the burnout phase, or the midlife crisis, and I have to repeat them all because I'm trying to make sense of it myself. Now, I don't know when your journey began, and I don't know when it's going to end. But what we can do in the meantime is to take time to heal. Now, healing is going to look different for each person. For some people, it is. Yeah, hopefully you can hear me better now. Sorry about that. Hopefully, not hopefully. Healing looks different for each person. For some people, it's going to be reading the Bible or reading their religious texts. For some people, it's going to be praying. It's going to be fasting. For some people, it's going to be just crying and screaming. For others, laughing. Some people are going to exercise. Some people are going to dance. Some people are going to talk to a therapist. Some people need to be hospitalized, and hopefully for none of you, but it may come to that. You know, if you're physically ill, if all of this toll that your body has taken, that your mind has taken, has manifested a physical illness, you may wind up needing surgery. And I hope that is not the case for none of you, but sometimes that happens. It happened to me. Um, the 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 hardest part of this is going to be finding out what you need to do in order to heal. Now, I've stated all these different things that people do in order to get through their healing phase, but as for me, myself, as a Reiki master, what I do is I practice Reiki. And for those of you who don't know, Reiki is a universal healing energy that we all have access to, and all we have to do is be still and call it in. Okay? And don't be afraid by the phrase call it in. You're not calling in something demonic, you're not calling in anything evil. What you're doing is calling in healing, calling in a pure essence. And Reiki can do no harm. It is meant for your highest good, and that is all. That is it. That is the end of it. Now, it's been maybe about 4 years since I first got my master's degree, if you want to put it like that, in Reiki. But I found that I've had to go back to the basics and just try to relearn everything as I'm going through this, whatever it is that it is. So I'm going to share with you some of the basics and maybe it will help you. The first thing that I am relearning is to not force energy where it does not want to go. Let's say that you are calling in energy to your stomach, to your gut health, that's your intention, to have gut health. But as you are calling in the energy there, you're feeling pressure in your head or sensations in your head. then maybe the energy doesn't need to go to your gut, your stomach. Maybe it needs to go to the head. Maybe there is an old belief, an old ideology that you're holding on to that is causing havoc in your gut area. I'm going to also say that this could also be pertaining to our relationships and the way that we interact with people. As starseeds, light workers, women of the old earth, as empaths, we often pour into people who are not capable of pouring back into us. We end up in toxic relationships and loving people who have not the capacity to love us back. So we do have to watch the energy that we're putting out and not, or calling in and not forcing it to go where it does not want to go. And if you're not sure how to do that, you're going to have to start meditating, in my opinion, and start paying attention to where you feel the energy leaks. Where do you feel the worst? When do you feel, like, how can I say this? Sometimes I speak in examples, and I can explain it better by an example. Um, Recently, as I'm going through all of this, I had to lay down. There have been frequent moments where I would get short of breath and I'd have to lay down, and a few minutes later, I'm probably passed out because I'm sleeping. And as I am halfway in between sleeping and being awake, I'm hearing my children in the next room, arguing, saying something back and forth to each other, and the fire in me was there to, just kind of roar and say something. Hey, don't talk to each other like that, whatever the case may be, whatever I was going to say. But I was too weak to open my mouth and say it. I just had to rest and leave it alone. And that taught me in that moment that I don't need to address every issue. And this is with children, this is with your job, this is with your spouse, this is with your lover, this is with, your sister, brother, cousin, aunt, whoever. This is even within your own self. There are some thoughts that you don't even need to recognize. I ought to give up right now. That's a thought. Yeah, you've noticed it, you heard it, but imagine that it's a cloud floating by and don't even pay it any attention. There is the second thing that I wanted to share with you. Um, Not to put expectations on what your healing is to look like. Sometimes we get it in our head that we want something to look a certain way. Like when it comes to a spiritual awakening, we imagine it as, a golden or white light coming down and, resting on our head and shooting all the way down and coming out of our fingertips, and everybody, around us can see the glory of the Lord on our face. Maybe it's not supposed to happen like that. Maybe if you walk around with the glory of the Lord on your face, you become a target. Now, I'm pretty sure that I'm talking to people who have been targets anyway, but that's beside the point. There are times, if you look back on your life, when you have been divinely protected against things. And perhaps sunlight, moonlight shooting out of your fingertips is not the best way for you to get your healing. Some people want to go on retreat, and that's how they want their healing to look. They want it to be peaceful and they want to be left alone. But it doesn't happen like that. It happens in the bathroom with you, vomiting and crying. As ugly as that is, sometimes that's the way it happens. And then sometimes you think it's going to be so hard, and it's really not as hard as you think. We've got to let go of the expectation of what we think healing should look like and let it come as it is. And if you have to get it out, if you have to purge it, if it has to come out somewhere, then I advise you to document your journey. Vlog, journal. Because even if you don't want to look back on it one day, there may be a member of your family or just some stranger out there who finds something that you left behind that says this person made it through this ego death, this midlife crisis, this spiritual awakening, then I can do it too. I am a firm believer in recording the human experience so that those who come behind us can know how to handle things. Let's see, is there anything else that I wanted to share with you? I don't think so. And I don't want to ramble. However it is that you find healing during this time, just allow yourself to do so. No matter how ugly it is, no matter how pretty it is, no matter what experience comes up, just allow it to happen. Whatever tower needs to fall, allow it to fall. I guess that's it. Give yourself a little bit of grace. I guess that's it. I don't want to ramble. If you're still listening, I want to thank you for tuning in, and we will meet right back here at the beginning.